This is Robin Ashler with Women of Passion and Legacy, where we spotlight women who have recognized their personal and very unique drive to have purpose, to take one step at a time to make a difference, whether locally, nationally, or internationally. These women, like you, have had their own set of fears and life challenges, but they've pushed through to accomplish one day at a time and to progress toward their dream. They have become women of passion and legacy. Today, I welcome Jen Uschold, who
Yes.
has been a physical therapist for over 3 decades, and she now helps her clients to empower themselves with their own choices. Her clients learn about pain science, lifestyle medicine, and mental fitness, and then they choose their own best approach for healing. I'm going to stop sharing for now and get you on stage a little bit more. So once they picked the modality, she goes forward with them. And she actually has more certifications and licenses than your GP or your medical specialist. So I'm really confident in sharing with you that she is unmistakably an expert in her field and in all the topics that we'll explore today. Outside of physical therapy and coaching, Jen is also a very passionate mom to three, whom I think is darling. She terms them as mostly grown. When do kids really grow up anyway? And she enjoys laughter and connection with others. She's a very passionate person about making big, fun, crazy cakes for her kids on their birthdays. So you got to tell me more about that a little later.
Happy to.
Overall, Jen is my kind of gal, and she appreciates the goodness in life and strives to foster more in the world simply through kindness and laughter. While she's very serious also about providing her clients with the best possible care and the most expert care. So, welcome to our show today, Jen. I'm really pleased to have you.
Thank you, Robin. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course, it's fun. It's fun.
It is
Um,
fun.
You have a motto that really intrigues me, which is preparation, choice, and repetition. It may sound simple to some of you, but it's not as simple as it sounds. And then you also have this wonderful quote that you brought up that is a symptom is not a symptom, it's an invitation to someone's story. So I'd like you to kind of give us more detail about both of those and explain how the various modalities that you use are what they are, first of all, and why you use them. So let's start there. I'm going to let you just go ahead and talk.
All right. Well, thank you for that. That quote, a symptom is not a symptom, it's an invitation to someone's story, came out of my work with chronic pain clients. So I specialize in helping those who have experienced chronic pain from months to literally decades. I worked with a woman a few years ago. Her chronic pain started when she was 7. And then I started working with her in her 40s. And I'm happy to tell you she's largely doing very well. And so when we are working with someone with chronic pain, we need to really dive into their story because pain is so much more complex than where they feel it. It goes far beyond the back, the hip, the knee, the shoulder. And so that is why asking them about their story based on the symptoms they're having is going to actually drive the treatments that we will use. And then that leads into the preparation, choice, and repetition. I do not make a habit of telling my clients what to do. I am engaging them, I am educating them, and then they are making the choices of how it's going to work best for them, their life, and the goals that they have. And the repetition, that's how we learn and get good at anything. It doesn't really matter how much we read about a topic or how much we watch a show about it. Until we get the repetition, we're not really going to get that true transformation. We actually have some research that tells us we get transformation with 20% insight, the books, the learning, the reading, and it's 80% of the repetition and the muscle building. So that is the overview of the acronym as well as the quote. I am using all of those things together in my work as a physical therapist. And out of my love for learning, I had chosen a path of becoming a health and wellness coach. I was lucky enough to be in the first cohort to take the national board certification exam. So that was very exciting. And then from there, I took a deep dive into pain science. I got a specialty in therapeutic pain science. That wasn't quite enough. So then I did a deeper dive and I did an 18-month fellowship in pain science. Then I got exposed to mental fitness, and this is where my mind was blown. Like, I'm always so excited about everything I learn, but the mental fitness, the way I describe it is like stitches on a quilt. It brings together my decades of learning and experience and exposure like the stitches on a quilt. So now I am incorporating the mental fitness on some level with all of my clients, and then also the lifestyle medicine, coaching, and pain science in a way that's going to fit them, their needs, and their goals.
Wow. Wow, that's a mouthful. A lot of things came to mind. I was busy jotting them down as you were talking. This, first of all, what really hits me is just looking at the pain science itself. There is so much going on these days having to do with the misuse of not over the counter, prescribed pain meds.
Yes.
And I'm really amazed and pleased that you're giving people an alternative, that you don't have to take those drugs, you don't have to get hooked, that there are other modalities to treat pain without having to go down that road. So I'd really like to talk to you a little bit more about that. Do you find that you get many clients that are addicted or that are come to you because they don't want to get addicted, or how does that fit or not fit?
It does run the gamut. I haven't had as many who are already addicted because I think they probably end up more in hospital-based programs, and that is okay. There are still people who can help them there. And but I'm getting the people who are wanting to get off the meds they're already on, the people who have been in pain for years and decades, and they're looking for something different. However, thankfully they're curious enough to come and see me because so much of what we and how we treat pain now is based on a model that, I'm not kidding when I tell you, it's 350 years old. So we've learned so much about how pain works in recent decades, and the challenge we have is disseminating this to both the health professionals as well as the humans that are in our world that are in pain. So in the pain science realm, we have four main areas, and we are wanting to address these with everyone on some level, and that is education. What's very cool is that we know when people learn about pain, they have less pain. And it's fascinating because we can actually measure this on those fancy fMRI brain scans. We see them before the education and after, and their brain has quieted because when we remove that threat of the unknown, then their system isn't responding with pain. And the other three main ones are sleep, exercise, and goals. These are all super duper critical for helping those with pain. And then we have a program, it's a plus program where we have an additional 22 additional strategies that are all evidence-based, non-pharmacological, non-surgical, and not injections to help people with pain. And so hopefully that helps you see where the choice comes in, because not everyone needs all 22, nor are they all interested in all 22. So that's a
Yeah,
very brief
that would take a
overview.
little longer to go through on this show.
That would.
But I think where what really resonates with me is the concept that fear exacerbates pain. That when you don't understand what's going on with your body and you're afraid of all the possibilities and what is it and that uncertainty, that just makes it worse. And so
It,
being able to not just diagnose, but because you're not a diagnostician, you're a coach, right? And but you have all of the knowledge to be able to help them understand what's going on with their body. Am I getting that correct?
You are right. I'm not a diagnostician because I'm not a physician. I am a physical therapist. However, it is rare that the diagnoses that my clients come see me with are truly the reason that they are hurting so much. So, low back pain costs us billions of dollars every year. That is a very easy diagnosis to write. However, if you've had pain for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, we have to get far more curious than just the tissues of your body. We often think that pain means tissue damage, but the truth is they are separate entities. And a way to help your audience understand that is, Robin, have you ever had a bruise on your body and you didn't know where it came from? You're like, oh, that's weird. Has that ever happened to you?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, that is tissue damage, but you didn't have any pain. So that is an example how we can have tissue damage and no pain. The opposite is also true, where we can have debilitating pain, and then people will get x-rays and scans and all these different things, and their tissues are beautiful. And the reason is because tissues do not drive pain. We have to get more curious because it's a much more complex system, mostly driven by your nervous system. And then all of the other systems get involved on one level or another, depending on the person and the situation.
Wow. So I don't want to digress too much here, but for me, I certainly can relate to what you're saying because um, I have arthritis and my whole family has varying. And so I've gotten, I can't even count the number of MRIs that I've gone through trying to figure out, okay, is this worth whatever the doctor is saying? But I really don't want to take time on that anymore. Really, what I want to talk about also has to do with even in that pain science, you bring up the 350 years. And I think for me personally, I go, it's older than that. It goes back thousands of years with acupuncture and acupressure and various different modalities from alternative medicine. How do you wrap that into your work at all, or what does that mean for you?
Yes. So when I say the model we are working on is 350 years old, because most of our understanding of pain, example, you put your foot in a fire, it hurts, you take your foot out, because it's Rene Descartes, a big philosopher, and he told us that pain is either in your body or in your head, and there's no crossover. And that is a very, very dangerous place to be, because we know not only is all pain real, we have never ever scanned fake pain. All pain also has both an emotional and a physical component. So we've all felt the nervousness or the anxiety when we have a big presentation coming up. There's nothing wrong with our stomach, but our brain is creating that experience and sensation because we are nervous, because we're having an emotional response to this big presentation. So, yes, what I love about all the research that we're doing is we are now able to take these modalities that are thousands of years old, whether it's yoga or Tai Chi or acupuncture, and we now have evidence to show that, yes, these can be a part of getting you out of pain. So, we are absolutely wrapping those things in.
I'm going to throw another monkey wrench at you. So the other side of that coin is walking on fire. Okay. And people like Tony Robbins have used that for decades now, teaching people of essentially mind over matter. So how do you explain that?
That's loaded. Okay, so it's very funny because the guy I'm dating actually now did go to the Tony Robbins thing and he did walk on fire. So what it is so much of it is understanding how pain works. So if I were to talk to an accountant and say, "Hey, you want to switch places with me? You be a physical therapist and I will be an accountant." It's going to be a disastrous day for both of us because we don't have knowledge. And I will often ask my clients, how would you define pain? And like, well, it hurts, it burns, it's sharp. I'm like, that's true. You know what it feels like, you know how it interferes with your life. However, do you know what pain is? And the reality is, most people don't know what the definition of pain is. So, our mindset and our ability to understand, are we in danger or are we not, is really important. So when we talk about walking across fire, they are trained, so they're getting exposure about what they're going to do. And I asked this guy, Jeff, and he's like, no, we do it really fast. So they're not even really in contact. Remember when we were kids? I am not supporting this. I do not support anyone doing this. But you know how we thought it was fun to put our finger through the flame?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Didn't we all do that? I'm not supporting this. Don't let your kids try this at home. But it's the same idea, right? We did it. We knew we weren't going to stay in the flame. So we weren't going to have that constant messaging going up to the brain, signaling danger. So you can choose to have a mindset to help ease your pain and prevent pain. And there's something called a mirror neuron. 25% of the neurons in our brain respond to what we think, what we say, what we feel, what we do. So if you and I are watching someone play basketball, the same parts of our brain are lighting up as if we are playing basketball. I use this with my kids. I use this with my clients. And, my son, he'll say, oh, I'm going to fail that test. And I'll say, all right, you got a 25% greater likelihood of failing that test because that's the messaging his mirror neurons are getting. And so when my clients are having fear, I'm not going to be able to walk the half a mile to the bus stop. Then we have to tap into the positive side of their mirror neurons so that they can start to create safety in their nervous system, because a safe nervous system doesn't create pain.
Wow. There are so many things that we could unfold in that this what you're bringing up. I'm absolutely mind blown, and also even more curious than ever to bring up topics that really, unfortunately, we're not going to have time for on this show. So we may end up having to bring you back, and we'll see how this goes. So I want to talk to you specifically also about your lifestyle medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a really important one for everybody. So tell us a little bit more about that and what that means. Unpack it for us.
I'm going to start with a very powerful statistic. We know that by using lifestyle medicine, which I'll define in a moment, that we can not only prevent, we can also treat and even reverse up to 80% of lifestyle related diseases. What are those? Obesity, high blood pressure, cholesterol, metabolic syndrome, and so many more. And we also can do the same thing for 40% of cancers. So, lifestyle medicine offers us evidence based strategies to treat these things that are going on in our lives without the side effects of medicine. It's not anti-medicine, it's not anti-surgery, because sometimes we do know that we do need those things. What lifestyle medicine is let's try the easy, accessible stuff first that has no side effects and is an important part of our health anyway. So in lifestyle medicine, we have 6 main areas or gears that we focus on, and they are sleep, exercise, nutrition, managing stress, avoiding risky substances, alcohol, tobacco, etc. And then the last one is social connections. The research on social connections is amazing. Are you familiar with this at all?
No.
Okay, it's very cool. There was a meta-analysis, I think it was 2010, so a little bit ago, and they looked at the 5-year mortality risk of exposure to different environmental things. And so I think it was pollution was a 5% greater likelihood of mortality in 5 years, and then they went through 2 or 3 more. But the likelihood of 5-year mortality when we lack social connection is 45%,
Wow.
which breaks my heart when I think about what we did to people during COVID who were just alone and afraid.
Yeah, that's a topic too. Wow, I mean, you have got so much packed into these words of these 3 areas. It's I'm not even sure. where to start with that, because the first thing that jumped into my mind as you were talking about lifestyle medicine and healing is there are so many stories of people who've been, say, diagnosed with cancer or even gone through various different treatments, like you indicated. But then they started changing their mindset. For is another word that's got a lot packed into it. Um, and through that, they were able. Well, there's a fellow who wrote the book The Miracle Morning. I don't know. Are you familiar with that?
Not that one.
Miracle Morning. He was, first of all, he was like, I think he was 19, and he had a massive car accident, and the doctors told him he would never walk again. Well, he not only walked again, he did what's called an ultra marathon. I don't know if you know what an ultra
I
marathon is.
do.
Yeah,
Those are
it's
intense.
big. He's done more than one. And then it was only, I think it was within 5 years. No, I'm sorry. I think he was in his early 30s, and he was diagnosed with a very rare and extreme form of cancer. And they didn't give him a very good prognosis with that either. And this was, he's now 20 years past that. And he's written a book, and he's healthy and he's happy and he's moving through life. So I absolutely understand that it's all it people use the word miraculous, but maybe not so much, really. Maybe it's simply we do not, well, I when we say we, scientists have not yet documented all of the little details that go into this mindset, the power of the mind, and the forces that we have access to.
We are
It's
getting
again,
there.
this is a massive conversation that goes far longer than what we have time for here, but I'd be interested in your comments on that.
Yeah, we are making progress. There's a fabulous book called The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, I believe is his name. And it's fascinating because people underestimate the power of their thoughts. Thoughts are actual nerve impulses. And so when you believe you're going to get better, you are one step further along in that continuum. And when you believe that you're going to be debilitated from whatever illness or pain you're dealing with, you are taking one step backwards. And we can connect it to the biology. So, pain neuroscience education, which is the broad term for it, we are looking at the biology and the psychology and the sociology because all of these things matter. Fascinating little crazy fun fact. What do you think what do you think is the most important indicator of whether or not you'll have back surgery?
Age.
The zip code you live in, which has nothing to do with the health of the tissues in your back. And it's really more about what is going on in the environment. I forget where it is, Midwest, I don't know. But anyway, so that environment, right, they're getting constant messaging. Pain is bad, get an x-ray, get an MRI, only have surgery. And so people are starting to take that in versus other places. Pain is normal, motion is lotion, you can do this. There are strategies. Those areas, those environments, people are going to have less experiences of pain.
Yeah, that brings up the whole this idea of the blue zones around the world. But those also have more, I think, more tangible reasons why people are living to be over 100 years old as a norm. Um,
Did you see that 4 episode one with Dan Buettner?
no, no, I've heard
Oh,
about it though. Yeah,
there's an amazing, can I tell one amazing story?
please,
So there was a
please.
gentleman who lived in Greece and he, I don't know, in his 20s or 30s, he moved to the United States and he decided he wanted to have his life here. He did 60s, 70s, whatever it was, got diagnosed with a terminal cancer. They told him he had 3 months to live. So he figured if I only have 3 months to live, I'm going back home. He goes back to Greece. He's planting plants with his wife, and he's sad because he's not going to be able to see them the next season. I think he lived to like 99 or something like that. So, and for
Yeah,
him,
I believe that. I do
yeah,
believe it.
very powerful, very
Yeah,
powerful.
I think there are so many things that we don't completely understand in our quote unquote developed uh, civilized world that go into our health overall, and it has to do, I think, with laughter. I think it has to do with the lifestyle that you're talking about, and then some physical things. But overall, it's a lot of it, I think, is in our minds, which brings us to the next topic, mental fitness. Tell us more about that.
My one sentence summary of mental fitness is learning how to harness your brain to be your friend more often than your enemy. And we know that broadly, negative thoughts and emotions, guilt, shame, anger, resentment, whatever it is, are broadly on the left side of our brain. And they show up when we are judging ourselves and others, if we're trying to control a situation, if we're restless and we're kind of always going one way or another. And we refer to those as saboteurs. And those saboteurs have a really strong hold on some of us and many of us. We also know through science that we can do very simple exercises and we can shift to the right side of our brain. This is where we have different powers around empathy, being able to be super curious and super innovative and problem solving. And this is where we have laser focused action. So we can be successful on both sides for sure. But if we're not in the right side, we are not going to be happy. We're not going to be feeling peaceful because we are being driven by these saboteurs. And so the mental fitness is understanding, again, just like we need to understand pain in order to overcome pain, we also need to understand how our negative emotions are showing up and driving our behaviors. And then we learn strategies to shift out and away.
Well, that's there again, it's another powerful topic because from there you can go into paradigms, belief systems that you've had, the family trauma, that goes back generations. Um, some people believe in past lives. Some people believe in astronomy or astrology. I'm sorry. Of course, we believe in astronomy, but anyway, there's all different topics that come into this concept of mental fitness. Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And
This is
what you
fun.
were just saying, this idea of having the symptom be an introduction to their story allows us to meet them where they are. Do they have strong beliefs in a Muslim background? Do they have strong beliefs in ancestral patterning? And then we can meet them where they are, as opposed to pushing our agenda on them or dismissing their beliefs, because that's not going to help anyone.
This has all been really, really powerful. Do you want, you've got an interesting little chart, a gear chart. Do you want is this a good point for you to kind of share what that's about?
I love talking about the gears, sure.
Okay, it's going to take me just a minute to pull it up. So hold on here.
Well, while you're pulling it up, I can tell you where it came from.
Okay.
Is that I did complete the fellowship in pain science. And then the group that I went through that with, not too long after that, they asked me to be the director for their new lifestyle medicine program. And so I was sitting with the graphic artist, and we were trying to think of a way to combine the pain science and the lifestyle medicine. And we came up with this gear image, which I would love to describe for you.
Okay. I think I got the right window now. Let's do this one. How's that?
There it is. Yes. So we call this gearing up for life, which is why you can see that on our title. And in teal, these are our four main gears for pain science. And we talked about those earlier: education, sleep, exercise, and goals. And then we also talked about the six lifestyle medicine gears, and those are represented in blue. And we have the two big crossover gears from both approaches of sleep and exercise. Why I love the gear image is because, again, it helps me and allows me to meet a client where they are. So if it is really important for you to be getting sleep, but you're not yet ready to tackle that, because if you're not ready, it doesn't matter what we talk about, but you are ready to start learning more about pain, or you are ready to start attending to nutrition, then we get a little movement in neighboring gears, and then we start to make some change in sleep. And then maybe you get a little more excited to tackle that a little bit more. And so that's where the idea of the gears comes from, and just creating movement where they're ready. And then we can create movement in other gears as well.
Wow, that makes so much sense. It's almost like, that the little marble that you start up at the top of something that you've designed, and you drop it down, and it comes down, and it drops in here, and it does something, and then it does something more over here, and then at the very end, you've got this amazing um, combined, coordinated motion
I love
that has
that
happened
description.
from one simple little catalyst.
Yeah, right. And the catalyst is where the client wants to start.
Now that is fun. I love that now too. Okay, and then the other thing is that you I mean there's just you've taken the words away, which is difficult to do for me.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's perfect. Um, I want to talk a little bit more, okay, because I think if people listening to this are getting as excited as I am, I think it's also important for them to understand that all of us, including all of you who are listening to us right now, have had your own kind of bumpy roads through life. And the amazing thing about Jen, she's got another, okay, as if these were not enough for her. Obviously, she's an overachiever. She's got another one that she's helping people with divorce. Tell us a little bit about how that came around for you.
Yes. So I went through a rather tumultuous divorce a few years ago, and we were trying to get through mediation. We had two mediations that failed miserably. And so then we were doing what's referred to as a retired judge mediation. This was our last chance before we are going to have to go to court. And in Virginia, I didn't have the $40,000 or $50,000 to cover the cost of court. And so as I started to think about the judge mediation, it just kind of hit me. I was like, everything I teach my clients to handle pain, to help with health, to get a good mindset, I can dump into this mediation prep. And so I did. I utilized pain science. I utilized lifestyle medicine. I actually went to a body language coach. I did different types of mindset work, and I got to the mediation. And it was very interesting because I spent so much time in pure panic and anxiety during this process. I woke
Yeah.
up on mediation day excited. And I had this
Wow.
thought in the middle of the night. I'm like, I can do this. And I literally stood up because I was only in the same room with my kid's dad for a moment. I said, we can do this. I looked him dead in the eye, and I reached across the table to shake his hand. I couldn't even look at him. I would try and be hundreds of yards away from him. So I felt pretty powerful that I was able to do that. And then around 3:30, my lawyer said, we are not going to get to the end. But I had prepared for a worst case scenario, and it actually came true. I had prepared. So I knew exactly what I was going to do. And so I said to my lawyer and the judge, I said, if this is the hill he's going to die on, then you can let him know I am going to politely get up and I'm going to leave. And then we slid into home base and we signed papers around 5:30. So from that,
Wow. I mean,
I
that
had
is
many people
impressive.
asking me, yeah. And so I created two courses online to help people navigate and prepare for their divorce mediation far beyond documents and financials. Like, it's a truly holistic way to prepare. And the cool thing is, so much of the healing is happening during the preparation rather than waiting for the divorce to be over.
Again, you've taken my breath away because I've been through a nasty divorce. And what you are suggesting and what you are saying that you've got the tools to do, which I absolutely 150% believe you, um, is so important for the kids. I know where I went through divorce, there was a program called Children in the Middle. And even though there was a lot of good intent for that program, it ended up really making things worse for my kids,
Mm,
unfortunately. Um, but the intent was there. The good intent was there. But what you're talking about is helping. If I mean, you can't change all the players,
no,
but you can change yourself. And when I say the word change, preparation is probably a better word for it. It's
yes.
it's a matter of setting your mind in a place where you've got the tools, where you've got the preparation, you've got the confidence like you did when you stood up and were able to reach across a table and shake a hand. That's massive when you're going through divorce because the whole process of divorce takes the wind out of you when you're
I am a different human.
going through the courts and mediation.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe
I am.
that. I think
I am a different
it's
human
absolutely
using.
amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
it
you've
was
been able to
shocking.
do
And
this.
I had friends like I met one in kindergarten or first grade and the other one in high school, and then they got married. And we had been very close for many, many years. You know, things changed, those details don't matter. And then I was talking to them after the divorce, and their names are Dave and Danielle. And I said to Danielle, we were just chatting, and all of a sudden she shouts, she's like, "Hey Dave, it's Jen. She's back." And that was really interesting to me because I hadn't realized how much I had hidden myself over the decades of the marriage. So that was validating to hear from.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get it. It took me 14 years, okay, to get to that point where I felt myself again after the whole debacle. So I congratulate you on that. You know, Jen, unfortunately we're losing time. I before we close, I want to be sure and share um, your websites and let everyone know for a certainty that you will be available or information on how to contact you will be in the description below this video. So if you were intrigued with anything that Jen had to say, let me first share her websites with you. And let me get this so that I can do that. Here we go. So this is your 180 Therapy and Wellness website. This is specific to, you can describe.
This is mostly for physical therapy. That's mostly what this is for. But again, I integrate everything, and there is a way to link to my other website if you're playing around in here.
Okay, and then this website, can you see the difference? Is that showing up?
Yes. So this is the I Rise for Me website, and this is where the pain coaching and the mental fitness training and the divorce preparation courses and information is.
Wow. Wow. So I want to close with a genuine desire for you to come back at some point so we can dive into this more. I think that I would really appreciate everyone who is listening right now to take the time to leave a comment and share in that comment what intrigued you most
Mm.
and whether or not you'd like Jen to come back and go into more depth. And if we can get some people commenting like that and sharing where their greatest challenge is and where they would like to hear Jen talk more, then I'll go ahead and get in touch with Jen and we'll bring her back again. So how does that sound, Jen?
That sounds great because we didn't even get to the crazy cakes.
I almost forgot. Thank you. What is that about?
Well, I am the youngest of nine children, and my mother made big fancy birthday cakes for the first six, and then maybe she was a little too busy. But the bottom three, we were a little salty about that. And so then I decided to start doing it for my kids, and they get them until they're 18. Let's see. I made a pizza, but then one of the pieces of pizza looked like it was floating and there was like drippy cheese. That was a good one. My son was into boxing, so I made his like his actual boxing gloves, and then I made um clear rock candy, and then I put blood on it like he had shattered glass. So I just do all these crazy things. My son this year, he wanted to one fishing, so he was on a dock fishing, catching a shark or something, but then I created like it was 3D. So there was water that you were looking at when
Wow,
the shark was in there. Yeah.
talented. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Your talent just seems to ooze.
Thank you. It's fun. It's fun. It's cathartic too.
Yeah, I
And I only have
guess.
one more to make, and then they're all done. So
You
that's a
know
little.
when is that and what are you going to make? Do you know yet?
No, his birthday's in December, and it's usually a conversation about what he wants and what the theme will be. And so it's kind of fun because we all participate a little bit. So yeah, we don't know yet. 18's
I
coming
think
up.
those family traditions are so important. I mean, with my kids, I grew them up. I grew them up. I, I, every time, every holiday season, it was our tradition to make able skeevers. And for those of you who have no clue what an able skeever is, it's a little tennis ball shaped like waffle. It's essentially a waffle recipe, although there's some special stuff that we put in it, but that makes it not a waffle, but they're like little tennis ball waffles.
And is
And
that still a treasure for your kids even today?
oh yeah, in fact, the other for not Halloween, it was Easter, my son called and said, Mom, come over and teach me how to make able skeevers. You have to have a special pan and everything. So, and that was
Um,
for his kids. So he's carrying on the tradition with his children, and that really was a gift. That really was a gift
Absolutely.
for me. So um, thank you. Thank you, Big Crazy Cakes. And wow, the talent just continues to ooze.
Well, thank you. I
So
appreciate
again,
that.
I encourage everyone to please make your comments, look in the description for how to connect with Jen. Let me know if you want to bring her back, what you want to hear from her, and we'll go from there. Like and share this show, please. I'm looking forward to more interviews, hopefully with Jen, but also with some other inspirational women that I have on my calendar already. And I want to close the show, as I always do, with a quote from Maya Angelou. It's not, people will not remember you for what you said. People will not remember you for what you did, but people will always remember you for how you made them feel. So I want everyone to remember that. And I think you have a special talent for making people feel better. And that is so crucial in our lives these days. So thank you for everything that you're doing. God bless you. And we'll see you again on Women of Passion and Legacy next time. Bye bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Bet.